This question is to the CEO and the board. My name's Millie, I'm 17 years old, and I strike from school for the climate because I'm terrified of both the impact of climate change on my future and the impacts that I'm already seeing in the world around me. Unless you've been living under a fireproof, floodproof, air-conditioned and heated rock, you should understand the severity of what I'm talking about. Earlier this year, I met with Peter King to discuss Westpac's ongoing relationship with fossil fuel companies, including Santos and Whitehaven Coal, that are expanding their production despite the warnings that we must stop all new fossil fuels immediately to have a chance of a livable future. Since this meeting, it doesn't appear that Westpac has taken any steps to stop further investment in new fossil fuel projects. We know Whitehaven is going to or has already approached you to relend the company money. This is a company that plans to double its coal production by 2030. Continuing as you are sent a clear message to young people across the country that you would rather prioritise your profits over our futures. My question is, will Westpac rule out any further involvement with climate-wrecking companies that are building new coal, oil and gas projects? And if not, can you explain why it is that your profits are more important than my generation's futures? Thank you.
Well, thank you for having the courage to stand up. Since you've met Mr. King, I think I'll have him answer your question. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Millie. In relation to specific companies, you would understand that I can't speak about where we're at and whatnot with specific companies due to privacy reasons. But in terms of our policies, we've been very clear on thermal coal that we will be out by 2030 at the latest. In oil and gas, we've announced a new policy this year, which is no new oil and gas facilities unless they are required for national energy security. So we've tightened up in those two areas. But more broadly, I think what I would say to you is this board spends significant time on this issue. We think about this as transition, so we have to reduce the impact on the climate. We also have to make sure that the country can still operate in terms of energy. So that's why we think about it through transition. But I appreciate your comments and your passions today, as I heard previously this year as well. And thank you for coming along.
Okay, I'll just add another point. While we've reserved the capacity for new exposures, it doesn't necessarily mean to say that we will do so, because we just can't predict the future so easily. But we're very conscious of the resolution here.
Hi, this question is to the CEO and the board. My name is Austin Gaetano, and I'm 15 years old, and I strike for the climate. Strike from school for the climate. As young people, we're acutely aware of the future we're looking down the barrel of, with bushfires, floods and droughts becoming worse every year. But we're terrified at the thought of it getting worse. Earlier this year, I met with Peter King to discuss Westpac's ongoing relationship with fossil fuel companies, including Santos and Whitehaven Coal, that are expanding their production despite the warnings that we must all stop new fossil fuels. So, will Peter King meet with School Strike for Climate again to discuss these ongoing relationships and how Westpac plans to end finance for destructive fossil fuel companies that are putting our futures at risk?
Well, you're on the spot here, Peter.
Well, I think what I would say is I meet with a lot of people, engage with a lot of people, and at the appropriate time I would be very happy to meet again, but we'll work out when that appropriate time is.